What's up, guys? My name's Nelson. Welcome to the Chan Chan. Chan Chan! Today I'm inside the TSX. Feeling a little stuffy. Let's open the sunroof. Cold start. This vehicle is about to hit 200,000 miles, and man, it sounds good. We're talking about repossessions, and before we get into that, just look at the MPG and the mileage on this car. It's got 1,999 miles with 996. I'm not sure if I said that right. It's a drive. On this drive today, we're going to be hitting 200,000 miles on this 2008 Acura TSX. Woohoo! Is a downside to repossessions. First of all, you're taking someone's things, a vehicle in my case, you know, and it's very hard. It's difficult. It's heartbreaking. Even for me, it's heartbreaking. I haven't done a repo in a very long time. My dad's very first repo ever in his entire life. So if you don't know, we're actually Hispanic. My dad came from Mexico a very long time ago when he was like 14 years old. First day he was in the United States, he had a job. He was a milker. He did farming for a long time, and then my dad worked, and he saved up his money and he bought a tire shop. My dad's first little tiny tire shop. It was such a small little tiny building. Dad started getting into cars. My dad brought all his entire family from Mexico. I mean, all his brothers do tires right now. They'll do mufflers, tires, car repair. We have a lot of car dealerships too in our family. So that's kind of how we all started right there. And my dad was a really big part of that. Repo before we got the dealership. On Craigslist, my dad sold a car. He told me it was a Mitsubishi Lancer, a 5-speed manual transmission Lancer. So my dad sold it to some guy in Fresno. The guy came down to Turlock, take a look at it, drove it, he bought it, but the guy only gave my dad like $2,000, or let's just say $2,000, and my dad sold it to him for $4,000, so he still owed him half the money. So my dad drives over there to Fresno, and he repos the car from the guy, you know, and takes it back. Now this is a street deal, Craigslist, you know. My dad's been trying to get a hold of him, like, hey, when you gonna pay me, when you gonna pay me? The guy doesn't answer. So my dad goes to Fresno, takes the car, brings it back to Turlock. Crazy, right? So this is where it gets even crazier. And the guy calls him and he's like, bro, where's my car? Where's my car? The guy threatens my dad. Tells my dad he's gonna like kill him, basically, you know? So then my dad says, all right. He says the car is gonna be at this address, which is his tire shop. So the guy goes to my dad's tire shop. Now my dad is crazy. He calls all his brothers, all his cousins. You know how Mexican people be, bro, super family like oriented, super family together. And I mean, from what my dad told me, all my cousins were there. And so this guy shows up, he pulls up to the tire shop, and my dad's there right in front of the tire shop. And I mean, he's like surrounded with all my cousins and stuff like that. And you know, we all strapped up. I'm just gonna say that right now. I probably shouldn't. They're ready to go, man. And the guy showed up, and there was no fighting, nothing happened. The guy paid my dad. The guy said he was sorry, and the guy left. You know, that was my dad's first ever repo. It's so crazy, but I mean, just imagine being there in that moment. Imagine being that guy showing up, and now he was insulting, screaming, and then he got scared, bro. I mean, I would have got scared too. I would have just paid. I would have just done the right thing, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, it can be really scary sometimes. Crazy. Guys, we're at 199, 1 mile away from hitting 200,000 miles on this TSX. Woo! That's how you know you have a good car, when you have 200,000 miles on the dash. Repo number 2. Now this one, again, is not our repo. Oh, sorry, I honked at someone. Did not repo this car. This is a story from a friend. So we used to know somebody. He closed his dealership down a couple years ago. So he repoed a car one time from some dude who didn't pay him. So he sells the car. The guy disappears for about 6 months. He finds the car. He says, oh, this is the car. It's parked right here. Goes to his dealer, gets the key, comes back and turns the car on and takes it to his dealership. Now he does this all on his own. You know, he was a one-man show. So when he gets to his dealership, he left the car on the street. Crazy, right? So he left the car on the street, goes inside his office, calls to make the report that the car is not stolen, it's actually repossessed. You have to do that. You have to call the police and tell them. So by the time he does that, 200,000 miles, woo! By the time he does that, the guy shows up and he has the key to his car, you know, so he already knew it was repoed. I mean, those are fast instincts. He shows up, turns the car on, and takes off, man, burning off rubber. And the guy, and you know, my buddy's just standing there on the phone. He's like, oh, he just repoed the car again. So if you don't know about a repossession, is when the report is made and the repo is done, you cannot just simply go and take the car back. There's like a cooling off period. If you do that, you've basically stolen it. Okay, now in repos there's a bunch of things also that we can't do. Blocked, almost like in any way, like a fence or a gate. If we have to enter someone's like property like that, that's fenced off or gated or closed, we can't legally do that. All right, buddy. So there's rules for us, there's also rules for them. You know, once it's repo, they can't just go and get the car back. It's been repossessed. It's almost like theft now. So I don't know what ended up happening, but that's just super funny. That one's a funny story. I got one more story that I think we can get into. One time we went to the movie theaters, and this is where emotions start coming in, and it totally sucks. These people ran away from us. And this is where it starts to get kind of sad. You know, it was like a Honda Accord, like a 2000 Honda Accord, and like who knows what, 2004, 2005. My dad was gonna take us to the movie theaters, you know, and so we show up to the movies, and my dad recognizes the car. He's like, that's the car. The guy hasn't paid. That's our car. And you know, we were going to the movies. He's taking his family to the movies, but really he has to work now. So he goes to the dealership, gets the key, gets the folder. We double check, make sure it's the same plates, you know. And when we come back, they're already in the car, you know. So my dad's like, shit, we were gonna take it before they got there, because we've been calling them, texting them, sending them letters. Same thing, we don't just go and repo cars when people don't pay. We send them letters, we give them calls, but we're very nice about it though too. We don't, like, you know, we don't bother people on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, on the weekends. We know people have things to do, they still have their lives, but it's just difficult. So like, we're behind them, chasing them, and I'm pretty sure my dad's had teal plates, so they knew it was us, and they freaking booked it, man. And my dad chases them. I'm not sure what car we were in, but we were all there. 2 brothers, and then my mom and my dad in the front. So it was 5 people in the car. My dad's in a freaking high-speed chase after this car that we have to repo, you know, because we haven't seen him in months. And freaking speeds up behind them, you know, and passes them, and then boom, swerves right in front of them, boom, and they stop the car. They slam their brakes, we slam on our brakes, and we're like, oh my God, what's going on? My dad gets out of the car quick, runs up to the car, and he's like, hey, he's like, you guys got to get out of the car. He started getting out, and then his wife got out, and then he had like, same thing, he had all his kids in the back, and it was like a Friday or Saturday. And you know, like I said, this is kind of where it comes in. We don't want to bother people on Friday, Saturdays. So we ended up letting them keep the car, and we told them, hey, you guys got to talk to us on Monday. You know, whatever situation you're going through, you just got to talk to us. When we call, you guys answer. When we send you letters, you guys call. You guys make your payments on time. And it was just so sad. I mean, it was so sad that, you know, that was maybe like 20 years ago, and I was a little kid, and I still remember it. Just because, number one, my dad just had a great heart. We were going out, you know, and my dad had to work and do something that he didn't want to do. They sound cool and stuff like that, but they are very heartbreaking. And, you know, I just remember that feeling of like, oh man, there's, you know, I'm a little kid. They probably just got out of the movie theaters, and, you know, they probably don't have a lot of money. That's why they're not making their payment. And it's just hard and it's sad. But I mean, man, you know, if they don't pay, then how are we supposed to get paid? And you know, we're not a big dealership, we're a small dealership, and it's just hard. It's tough. About some bad repos, to this day we have like 4 or 5 cars that we have never found. One of the cars, we actually did find it, but not in the condition you think. So we sold this person a car. It was a girl. After a while she stopped paying, and then we went to, I mean, her references, her mom and her dad, and they just told us, oh, she's gone, we don't know where she went. Well, she ended up falling into like drugs, alcohol, kinds of different things, and it's just a really sad story. Randomly, we ran the Carfax on it, you know, just to see like if it was registered anywhere else. And it was registered in Georgia. No joke, from California all the way to Georgia. But it was registered in Georgia at a junkyard. So the car was salvaged out, it was parted out, it was crushed. And we called them and we're like, how did you guys get this car without a title? Obviously the car didn't have a title because they didn't pay the plates, they didn't pay us. We're not going to give them a title unless they pay for the vehicle. So literally we sold them a Honda Accord. It was like a 2005 Honda Accord, a great car, you know, low mileage, all that kind of stuff. And I remember it because me and my dad, we would go out there kind of searching for these people. And it was just terrible. Those are repo stories right there. Sometimes you get the car and, you know, sometimes you can win. Sometimes you just totally lose. And the thing about repoing cars and the thing about financing people with cars is that sometimes when you finance people, people don't know, but you're basically like marrying them. I've had people that, you know, went during their buying my car, they're going through like a divorce and they just put child support on the guy or the girl, and then like some kind of revenge thing happens where the guy will like break all the windows in the girl's car, so she's got like $1,000 bill that she wasn't expecting. I've even had it where the guy, the girl, they repo the car from each other. So I call the guy, I'm like, hey bro, you haven't paid, it's under your name. He's like, dang. So he literally takes the car from the girl that he's not with anymore, and to do that he had to like break the window. And then the thing is, you call and they tell you these stories of all these different things. So when you finance people cars, it's almost like you marry them. If you sold them the car 1 year, 2 years, 3 years ago, you're gonna, you know, you get all that, you receive all the info. And I don't want to stress you guys out. These are just funny little things. And I mean, I have so much repo stories, it's ridiculous. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.